Alright, since Disney Plus released a couple years back, Star Wars on Disney Plus has released 10 shows slash seasons of like important Star Wars content. So like, Mandalorian season 1, 2, 3, Bad Batch season 1, 2, etc. So there's been 10 significant releases for Star Wars for the Star Wars universe. So I thought it'd be a good idea to rank them because I've had this ranking whenever a new show comes out, and I'm excited to show you guys what I think is 10 the worst to 1 currently the best. And Ahsoka's coming out soon. I really hope that is hopefully number 1 because I think it could be. So let's just get right into it. At number 10 in last place, I have Andor season 1. I feel like this is a very hit or miss show for people. It's meant to not feel very Star Wars-like. It's supposed to be a very unique feeling with a lot of like politics and not very action-packed. And for me, it just wasn't my type of, Star Wars style that I'm used to, and I felt it was very slow for me personally. But I do see that a lot of people have this hype on their list. At number 9, I have Bad Batch season 2. I felt like this was just jam-packed with a lot of filler episodes and like little side adventures, and I just didn't feel like it was that entertaining of a season of Bad Batch. The animation obviously is like top tier visually, but again, I just didn't feel like it was that good of a season. At number 8, I have The Mandalorian season 3. I feel like this was the most forced season slash series of anything on this list. I feel like the end of season 2 was the perfect conclusion to the Mandalorian series as a whole. But I know Grogu makes them a lot of money, so that could be a big factor of why season 3 was a thing. Or maybe, I know Jon Favreau, has a lot of planned Mandalorian episodes in his head. But again, I just feel like it was very forced and unneeded, and kind of retconned the conclusion of season 2 with Grogu and Mandalorian being separated. I know we'll get into how one series kind of changed that in the middle of it and left fans confused at the beginning of season 3 for The Mandalorian. But again, this was a unique series because it focused more on the lifestyle of the Mandalorian group, and it was a very unique series with very odd cameos, but overall I just didn't feel like it was that good. Next, at number 7, we have Bad Batch season 1. I felt like this overall was a very mid-tier show. The last couple episodes were very, very good with the Camino ending, and it actually had some emotion in it, and again, animation, super good. But again, a lot of filler episodes, but there were a lot of callbacks, with Order 66 and Fennec Shand. But, overall I thought it was decent. Next, we got the Book of Boba Fett, and I realize that this is a lot of people's least favorite series, and I understand because there's a lot of slow and cringe parts of this that are just very bad. However, episode 6 with Luke, Ahsoka, Grogu, Mandalorian, Cad Bane, that is my favorite episode of Star Wars that Disney Plus has put out of any show. It feels so much like Star Wars. It is filled with favorite characters. It is so amazing, and it literally had nothing to do with Boba Fett, so it was very odd. But that's the only reason that this show is bumped up to this spot. Otherwise, man, this would be a lower show. The number 5 spot, unfortunately, I have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was really hoping, as well as probably most Star Wars fans, for this to be like the best show ever, but man, there were so many problems with this show, and we were kind of expecting Vader to be the main villain, but Reva ended up being the main villain, which, was a little different, and I feel like there's just way too many errors and confusing plot points that didn't make any logical sense, and I feel like the only episode that carried the show was the final episode because of the ending fight scene. Otherwise, this would be much lower. At number 4, I have the Clone Wars Season 7. The first portion of this season was a little slow and boring for me. I mean, the Bad Batch part was cool, but the best part was by far the last few episodes with Ahsoka, Maul, and how it blended in with Episode 3. And man, that is some of the best Star Wars, I think, that came out. And again, the animation is just so good. Number 3, I have The Mandalorian Season 1, which was the first Disney Plus series for Star Wars, and I thought it was a really good introduction to what the future would hold, for the most part. and I feel like it had a very solid story. It introduced Grogu, which became like the new face of Star Wars, and I'm surprised they kept it hidden, you know, with all the trailers. It's very interesting that they did that, but yeah, so overall Mandalorian Season 1 was very solid. In second place, we have Tales of the Jedi Season 1. We know Season 2 is coming, plus probably many more, and maybe even Tales of the Sith. I feel like Dave Filoni does such a good job of making these short episodes super emotional. Again, the animation's super good, and they are focusing on characters we really like and care about, and often dive into time periods that we're not super familiar with for these characters, and lets us learn a lot more about them. At number 1, we have LEGO Star Wars Summer Vacation. At number 1, we have The Mandalorian Season 2. In my opinion, this season of Star Wars content is almost unbeatable. It had the most perfect conclusion to the Mandalorian story with Grogu, and I think it's unfortunate that they continued to force out content after this for The Mandalorian because, like I said, I think it was a perfect conclusion. It was so action-packed with cameos of Ahsoka, Luke Skywalker, which we finally got to see in his prime form. So yeah, guys, I think no Star Wars season or show has come even close to The Mandalorian Season 2. I'm sure you guys have completely different opinions than mine, so let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thanks for watching this video.